I'm probably going to be curating this all night, all week, until I feel perfectly happy with it. So today I wanted to do a little video on styling this bookshelf, so just styling shelves in general. If you haven't seen the video about this bookcase, which I have recently updated, spent a few days working on it and things, check out the channel for this video and the process it went through. But for today, we're just going to talk styling. So best thing to do with is clear your shelves. Just get rid of everything. Pull all your accessories and everything that you may be wanting to put on it. It's easy just to get it all at once, otherwise you're going to be running around the house like crazy. So best thing to start with is the bigger pieces. So either your books or your vases. Depends on what you have. Obviously if you have a bit of a collection, great, helps a lot. But normally you can always shop from your house, to be honest. The idea is to have, you know, a bit of a curated space that displays items that you love, that you've collected, family pictures, that just helps bring some life into the space. So let's get started. Right, this is going to be a lot of time, I think, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of chopping and changing, but let's start with Phoebe wants to come out. Hi. Okay. Phoebe's not going to go in here, so where was I? Right, I think I'm going to start with this big vase, to be honest. It's quite a good piece. I've got a feeling it might be too brown for the space, but I actually really quite like it. So I'm going to try that down there, and then I think we need some books to bring some lightness into it. Books can be an interesting one because you obviously don't want to, you know, that doesn't work obviously, but it's finding the right curation. Obviously, like, that feels stacked then stacked. This bit kind of works because we've got some variation. This and this isn't working at the minute, and I think I need some shorter books that are, you know, probably turned this way. But I think they need standing up, or either I need some stacks here. Right, I'm feeling a bit closer and happier with the book selection. I took some off the bottom, I think I might add some back in. But I need to keep standing back to see how it feels. And I think I like this little kind of, it's a bit more organic. I've just turned a few of the books around. We've still got a bit of a stack, but I think once we start to add some items, this will break this up a little bit. So I am going to try some different vases because I really still like this, but it is feeling quite dark. So I'm going to see what other options. I absolutely love this vintage jug, but it does feel a little bit kitchen. But as we're in an open plan living, it could work, and the colours do tie in really nicely. The height on that is really nice. I think the only problem is it's quite thin, so I think we need to find something at the side of it. So this is a good example here of the two working together. My only issue is it is still feeling heavily vintage and quite kitchen, but I do really like it. But I think I need to make sure I try and find a few modern pieces or a modern frame or something sculptural just to balance out the sort of the rustic elements in it. I think next I am gonna try and put some artwork in it. It needs a bit of life in it. Again, shopping home, most of my things are on the wall. I've pulled a few pieces, and to be honest, I might just try this because it has a really kind of nice landscape scene, and the black simple frame just gives it that little bit more of a crisp modern look. Now, there's no right or wrong placement for the frame or anything like that. Normally, your heavier items or chunkier items tend to go down the bottom. So baskets, maybe the largest of vases, but again, you could have a large vase up here, it doesn't matter. But that just doesn't feel quite right there. I possibly think the scale of the frame could be a little bit too big. And at the minute, that's feeling quite boxy above with that. It feels almost there. I like the colour that it's bringing in. I just think the scale might be off. And if I had a smaller canvas, I think that could work quite well. But I quite like it for the moment. I like the brightness it's bringing in. Right, I switched up this artwork. I'm in two minds at the minute. I think the scale's much better. I quite like the painting and the artwork in it. And it has this beautiful brass frame to it. Obviously, I'm conscious I don't want everything to look a bit too vintage. So I think we need to either bring in some black elements or something a bit more sculptural, which I'm limited on. Yeah, I think we need to bring in some pieces like that. So I did just grab these candlesticks, but I know it's kind of looking here and here, but that feels too repetitive of what is below. The colour's right, but it's repeating too much. And again, I think because there's so much wax on these, it's just not working. Green is always a good option for shelf styling, brings a bit of softness, a bit of organic texture. If it's in a place of maybe not much natural light, a faux plant could work absolutely perfect, and it's so much easier. So I'm going to try that up there. Here, it doesn't work. It just covers up the artwork too much. Here, it just feels too blocky. It doesn't sit right there. This could work. You just want to be really careful if you put in any vases or pots or anything on top of books, because sometimes they can leak. So just be really cautious of that, because I've had it happen so many times and it's ruined so many books or coffee tables or anything. So as much as I like that, I think at risk of ruining a book, I may not have that. It's also starting to look a little bit overflowing. It does look really good, but I think it looks a little bit too cramped at the minute. So boxes, baskets, obviously books, pots, vases, all really good for shelf styling. I'm quite limited on boxes actually. I can never seem to find really nice ones, apart from Ochre do really beautiful ones, but obviously I'm in the Netherlands now, so it's a bit more difficult. So I do keep boxes from the past, so I'm going to try that up here, because obviously you won't see what's on top. I don't mind that, but I think it just looks too heavy. That needs something lighter there. I think this box could be good on its own, but my only issue is you can see this. Luckily I can turn it upside down. This job could be one of the longest jobs sometimes ever. It can take all day. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a fun one, but it is just constantly standing back, looking and working out what works and what doesn't. Right, so I've just added this little addition here of this little picture frame, and I'm quite liking that, because especially on open shelving, if this was all open, sometimes it can be really tempting to go up and be symmetrical, but you want to cross over, as you can see here, the slightly crossing over, and then it helps it feel a little bit more fluid and kind of thought about. Obviously with having the 2 doors, we want a little bit of a structure and set into 2, but I still want it to feel kind of like quite fluid. So let's just see what it looks like with the doors shut. And you can still see the image. I think that looks quite nice actually. Yeah, see now it's also matching the height of here. It's allowing your eye to travel. There was nothing wrong with it before with the box. But now your eye can kind of travel down here and then back up again and then down. And it just makes the whole shelf that little bit more interesting. Right, so now I need to definitely start adding some softness. Obviously I've got curves, but something sculptural, which again I'm very limited on. I have a lot of vases. So I think, you know, when things like this, if you collect pieces, I have a good amount of vases. So I'm kind of making a mental note of when I go, you know, sort of sourcing things, is that I need to look for sculptural pieces, or I need to look for, you know, brushes, those other things. Similar to these, you know, this kind of, these beads, it's a bit more organic, it's fluid. At the moment, I am loving the colour with it, but it just feels maybe a little bit too farmhouse, a bit too rustic maybe, but I think it's going to be quite helpful for adding some extra texture, even if it's just loose like that or in a bowl. Actually, I'm quite enjoying that, to be honest. I really want to use this. I sourced this the other day and it has the most beautiful little twizzle handle, and the brass elements help tie in on the new handles. Obviously on the other picture frame it did tie in, so I just think it could be. Here feels like a natural spot because of the length of it, but it feels like it's mimicking this too much. I think it needs that contrast against it. There, the scale just feels not right. I mean, it might not work for in here. I think if I'm honest, it's not going to work in here. Right. Again, this piece doesn't work here. We need something with height, but I'm going to have to be careful not to replicate what's going on underneath it. So it might even be a case that I switch this around and then I can have another vase here. So I might try that, but this kind of needs to be, probably up there works, but I don't like seeing that visual side of it. That could work, but again, I feel like it needs something a little bit bigger there. Right, I might go back on what I said about the plant, but I might add something larger here, but I think this shelf needs to come down and then this one down one, and then that allows just that little bit more breathing space for that picture frame. And then if I have something bigger on the top, I think that could work. Okay, I'm going to try that. Right, so I've lowered these 2 shelves down one more. I think that's feeling quite good. I am going to attempt to risk the basket. Now the only reason why I'm risking this, if I say risk, it's not high risk. This has a water container in it, as you can see. So I'm pretty sure that none of the moisture is going to go anywhere. I'm going to put one of these cork coasters underneath. You can't see it, but you know, it just retains from it. When I water this plant, I'll water it and leave it by the sink, you know, let it soak up all the moisture. and make sure it's not running anywhere. But I'm going to keep a watchful eye on it. But even if I was putting it straight onto the shelf, I would probably recommend just if you can put something underneath, unless it's a really durable plant pot. But obviously this, being a rattan, is just a little bit more permeable to water. Not putting everything in the middle, it just feels too central. Sometimes that works, but going off to the angle, don't be afraid to do that. The butts are obviously central, and then here they're not, they're off to one centre. So just play around with the perspectives of it a little bit. And then we want this little bit of overlap onto the plant, onto the picture frame here, which looks really nice. So let's see how that feels. I think that's starting to get there. I think I'm going to try a larger vase up here. Now it might start to feel quite heavy here, is my only cause for concern, because it's a little bit blocky here. This is now quite full there, so it could feel full. But let's have a look. Because you see what's that's doing now is it's relating to this, but they're not directly above one another. Same with this here. So you kind of want to work with triangle shapes. I like it, but I feel it's still not there. And I've just looked how long I've been filming this for. 50 minutes so far. So yeah, don't do this thinking you can do it quickly, unless you're an absolute pro. Yeah. I'm probably going to be curating this all night, all week, until I feel perfectly happy with it. But then it's always evolving and changing. Don't ever think once you've finished it, that's it, it's finished. You know, you want it to change it up and freshen it up for seasons and the time of year and stuff. So, right. I like the freshness of the colour there, but it's too much replicate in the green plant there. But it's nice to add some of that brightness. It's relating a little bit to this, but it just doesn't sit quite right there. I feel it's like almost there, and I'm quite enjoying that green vase up there because it now helps break up the brown tones a little bit. Still keeps it really earthy, and kind of ties in all the colours, and it does feel quite close. I did quite enjoy the plant in it. Maybe like a smaller faux plant could possibly work. Okay, I think we're gonna have to come back to this one. I actually really want to have that in there now. It looks so cozy. I'm not going to add it anywhere here because that is way too repetitive of that, but I could build it in there, possibly. It feels a little bit heavy. Right, I'm gonna walk the dog. Come here, Phoebe. She's staring at me and I think she needs a walk. I need some lunch, but I'm actually I've changed some things around again. But I think I'm really enjoying it. I think the only thing, maybe just something sculptural, which I don't have. Anyway, I'm overthinking it. I'm gonna go have a break and then come back to it. And yeah, I'll walk through everything that I've done. Bye, baby. Right, back from lunch and had some time to look and take in the whole shelving. And do you know what? I think I am actually, I say think, these things, they take time. I'm going to keep looking at it, keep tweaking it until it feels right, you know, and that's the fun of it. I'm pretty happy with it. I think there's just a little bit here that needs something. It's been a little bit empty. There is quite a lot going on in here at the moment, and I think you could easily strip this back. This could equally look just as good with just the picture frame. That looks really nice, and it allows it to stand out more. I've got to stop changing things now because now I'm unsure whether to put the box back. Oh no. Okay, I'm just going to stop changing things. Right, back to what I needed. So, I think just a little something here. I'm actually going to, contrary to what I said earlier, I'm going to stick with the candle. I've been wanting to pull out this for a while and find somewhere for it. I think in the evening it's going to look so cosy, just being able to easily turn on the LED candle. It's the perfect place for it. It's just going to light up this corner a little bit and just highlight any of the features on the bookshelf. So that is staying for now. So I'm just going to, I felt it needed something round. We've got the basket, but it needed a bowl. A little bit higher one would have been good, but because we've already got this frame pulled out, I'm not going to be able to get a huge amount in there. A lot of the ones that I tried were like this, which works perfectly well, but it was just feeling too much of the same tone. It was just reading a bit too heavy. This is really nice because it's got the black tones in it, which time with that, but it just didn't feel spot on. So I literally just pulled these two little bowls. I think these were just old H&M. One's H&M and I don't know what the other one is, but they felt quite fit in there. I think that black tone, it pulls out the picture frame, it pulls out the moody tones in this, you know, any of the kind of the font, that felt right. So I think I'm happy with that now. I'm going to end up keep looking at it all night and tweaking it, but I think that's really good. I'm really happy with that. I'm so happy I've got somewhere to style shelves now. And I'm going to fill the bottom with either definitely blankets, because I have blankets in this unit and it's overtaken it. Games are perfect. And then I think if I've got some spare baskets, some baskets is great in there for any other like loose toys like cards or game controllers or anything like that. But you can never have too much storage, so that's perfect. Or I might just store more vases in the bottom since I've got so many. But yeah, really happy with that now. So let's take one last look. Let's close it in. That way it's confirmed then. I think that's perfect. I think I'm really happy with that now. Yep. So for me, what it gives me is it helps tie in the tones with the rest of the living room. The living room has a lot of like brown tones and earthy tones. This helps depict the landscape outside, which is really nice to kind of bring the outside in, as everybody always says. I've worked with, you know, the triangles. We've kind of got heavy here and then taller here. So we're kind of creating this triangle. Got some personal elements in with a personal picture frame. I've got inspiring books, which just kind of helps tell the room's story a little bit. And then we've got modern elements with the black picture frame and the black tones on here, which just helps balance those more traditional vintage pieces. And I think this is perfect. It can just, it can keep changing. I can't wait to adapt to it and change it and just seeing what else it brings. So yeah, perfect. Well, again, if you wanted to see the makeover of this cabinet, then make sure you check out my channel and go and find that out. But thank you so much for watching. It means a lot. I hope you may be feeling a bit inspired to go style some shelves. You know, this can carry across many other shelves, can these tips. So yeah, make sure you follow my channel and don't forget to check out my Instagram page and subscribe and like this video so you can also know when more videos are coming up. So yeah, thanks, bye.